We're talking about Bayonetta Bloody Fate. Because the game was pretty good, so the movie should be okay, right? Right. I enjoyed the game. If you ever played the game Bayonetta, either the Xbox or the PS version, the original Bayonetta game, this is that game, super compressed, not good enough. Because let's be honest, if you fucking sat through the game and made it all the way through the game, you know that game doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, imagine if you take not a whole lot of sense and take some of the important bits out and kind of cobble it together, you know, in, let's say, an hour and 40-something minutes. Guess what? It's gonna make even less sense, and it does. You're not watching it because, what's gonna happen in the Bayonetta movie? Because you fucking know what's gonna happen in the Bayonetta movie. You're watching it because you like Bayonetta. The story makes about as much sense as the video game story, which is, had a fight with, let's call them angel guys. The Lumen Sages and the Umbra Wenches had a fight, and they knocked each other out of sight 500 years ago, only Bayonetta's been asleep that whole time and doesn't remember what happened. Go! That's it. Yeah, that's it! I don't need to go into the story, because you either need to play the game, or you're not going to watch it. Because you're not. Unless you have a friend that you have tried to explain the concept and story arcs of Bayonetta to, and they just don't get it, but they don't want to sit there for potentially 12 hours, potentially, make them watch the movie. That is as good as you can do for as wacky as it is. Because it's fucking wacky. They got the original voice actors from the game to come and voice the movie, which is great, because that's how Bayonetta sounds. And she's a classy British chick. You can tell. There's this guy who's not cool enough to be wearing this scarf following her around because he's convinced that she killed his father 20 years ago. Anyway, he's really chummy with this thing that he deems a witch. He's correct, but still, he's like calling her a witch, but he's really chummy with her. He'll just be like, well, you killed my dad, but what's up? Right? He's a fucking dick. He's kind of a douchebag. First you killed my dad, then you dent my car, and you don't give me that pussy? What a bitch. That's that guy. This is Luca. He's kind of just here because he's in the game. That's really the only reason he's here. Same with this guy. Same with this chick. You know what? I'll say this. I enjoy Jean in the movie much more because Jean in the fucking game is fucking hard. She is hard, alright? That bitch is fucking tough. And I do not enjoy that fight. She's fucking rough. I enjoy just watching it. Oh, that was nice. Man. Can you imagine being stuck here for a half an hour? That's the drawback of compressing a game into a movie like this. If you played the game, you already know what's happening, so you don't really need to pay attention to what the movie's telling you. And if you haven't played the game, whatever the movie tells you, you don't care. And the only thing that made it 100% from the game to the feature was the fan service, because it all made it. It is fan serviced. And just like the game, not an ounce of nudity. Never. All these dirty innuendos and very, very awkward angles. Bayonetta jumps out of a couple windows mound first. A few times. It's like a thing that she does. That will keep you at least sitting there watching it, because at some point Bayonetta's going to stick her ass right in the camera. And she does. Every single scene. She can't not walk like a hooker in front of the impressionable little girl. She can't. It's just a thing. I'm sorry, it's just a thing. And this isn't the first time you've ever seen a animated feature based on a video game that has come out in the recent past. Dante's Inferno, Tekken, Street Fighter, doesn't matter. Even though the Street Fighter one is fucking good, I'll fucking fight you on that. I went with Bayonetta for my pretty much first video game based anime for two reasons. First of all, it's October, and, you know, witches and angels and all that shit, so yay, October. Second of all, out of most of those that I just named, Bayonetta's kind of the most beautiful to watch. It really is. They turned that animation all the way up, and it looks great. Well, my wife says it's a little like animation porn, not animated porn. If the process of animation gave you a boner, that's what this movie is. Look at it. It's gorgeous to watch. It doesn't make a fucking lick of sense. You could argue it's a very shiny turd. It's super shiny though. So yeah, it looks great. It sounds great. They bring in music from the game, and if you liked the game's music, then guess what? You're gonna like this soundtrack. If you've never played the game, you're not gonna watch it again, that's for damn sure. And even if you have played the game, the movie lacks a certain everything that the game had. So you'll probably only watch it 1 or 2 times and then be like, oh yeah, it's Bayonetta. But no, don't watch that. Play the game. I'm upset that Bayonetta 2 hasn't been cross-platformed yet, or at least multi-systemed at this point, because I don't want to buy a fucking Wii U just so I can play this one game, even though I really want to play this one game. And not just because of all the Moundy fan service and her weird hair outfits, which are super weird, but it's just a fun game. I'm sorry, that is a fun-ass game. It's like gun-wielding ballerina Kratos. That is the best way I could describe that to you. And she's tall with glasses and an accent. I don't care which accent. Accent. That's pretty hot. I'm sorry. Overall, the experience for a one-time sitting through is not bad. Once again, if you already know what happens, it's alright. It's alright. If you know what happens, if you've experienced the game, it's not bad. If you don't know what the game is, it's not really that memorable. It's kind of going to be confusing and a little too pervy. Just a little too pervy if you don't know what's going on. If you're already used to it, then you're like, that's right, put your ass in the camera. That's what you did in the game. Because she did. Overall, my official rating and my unofficial rating system, it's watchable. You could watch it. If you're curious and want to check it out, it's not the worst thing ever. If you've already seen it, then you're good. Honestly, this thing has like 2 ratings because if you've played the game, you're probably going to enjoy it. At least enough to maybe buy it. Maybe buy it. At least watch it whenever you get your hands on it. Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah, Bayonetta. I don't have time to play the whole game right now. Let's watch the movie. You'll probably be like that. If you've never played the game or didn't like the game, you're probably not going to like the movie and are probably going to skip it. If it didn't look so good and if it didn't sound so good, it would have gotten a much worse rating. But let's be honest, it looks great and it sounds amazing because it does. So it's watchable. If you're curious just to know or just see the movie or know what the game is on just its most basic confusing level, then check it out. But otherwise, you're fine. But the game is still better, so you may as well play the game. The game wasn't a subpar game. The game was rushed and not finished. That's the problem with the game. This is AniView by Dave. I, of course, am Dave. If you have any questions, comments, confusion, suggestions, put them below, and I will get back to you. See you next time. And if you think it sucks, I'm sorry. You don't get your 90 minutes back. But you don't have to watch it again.